Those that are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Those that are not new, welcome, that have been here, coming here every day, welcome back. First, I want you guys to recognize that we just came out of Black Maternal Health Week. I will talk about Black people because I am Black. It was April 11th through the 17th. And it's something that deeply, personally, to me, is connected to me and why Russell Mama exists. The data tells us simple that there's a high mortality rate amongst Black women in general, but more higher with Black women, right? They are dying at nearly 3.5 times of the rate of any other woman pregnant with pregnant-related complications. And so we always talk about the systematic issues and things of that nature that comes with Black Maternal Health Week. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that just a little bit, like implement that and know that, you know, it definitely is a problem. It's definitely something that I personally went through. I have 3 babies that are alive, but I lost 2 babies. One was right after my oldest, and I was told to medically terminate the baby. And I looked back and did a lot of research after the fact, like after getting all this statistical data currently, that I probably didn't need to do that. But because my doctor didn't know how to, at that point in time, my OBGYN, not for sure, didn't know how to manage my thyroid condition with my pregnancy, even though I just had a whole baby, or felt like I was thrown aside, then that happened. And then I got my rainbow baby, which was my daughter. She was born happy and healthy. And then shortly before we moved overseas to the Middle East, I was pregnant again, and I lost that baby in the most traumatic way. I had went to the emergency room and having pregnancy complications, and I was sat in the waiting room for like 5-6 hours. And at that point, but I don't want to get emotional, but at that point, the waiting room for the ER was not busy. There was no one there, and I was the only one there waiting for a bed for 5 hours. And when they finally called me to the back, they did a simple ultrasound, but I was telling them like something's wrong, something's not right. They did an ultrasound. They said your baby is fine, go home. They discharged me. They didn't look into anything. They didn't do anything for me. I went home and I lost that baby as soon as I got back home. And I remember the doctor that came in, he looked at me with such a sadness upon his face, as if saying like, we could have helped that baby. And the reason I know is because I was pregnant again with my rainbow baby. So I got 2 rainbow babies with my youngest. And this time I was pregnant with him overseas in the Middle East. And I went through the same complications that I went through baby Zeta, that's what we call her, that was her name. And that doctor instantly knew what to do. And it happened around the same, I was 26 weeks for both. I had complications, the same complications, and the doctor in the Middle East knew exactly what to do. And now he will be 11 years old this year. So like I said, one of those things, like the Black maternity health crisis that we have, Black women being pregnant and not being listened to, not being heard, not being seen. I've experienced it myself. And like for those mamas that are pregnant right now, that I didn't want that to scare you if you are watching, but just know that I see you. I know the things, I've heard the things, and just wanted to honor you in this week because it's very meaningful to me. Let's keep it moving. So have y'all heard about Emma? I love her. I ain't gonna even flex. I've been following her way before she's become viral. I love her just in a sense because she is one of those self-made women in America. But she went viral this month by saying that she had like a max 3 hours with mom, like being a mom, and it's only on the weekends, and how how she felt that if you want to advance in your career, that you have to show up and be present in the workplace. And I just thought, girl, okay, I'm with you when I'm with you, but let's just dial it back. And I think that what happened was the miss in how they meaning social media or media in general are basically, what is the word I want to use? Chopping up and screwing what she has to say. I want to talk about first the max 3 hour mom time on weekends. As a mama, everybody know, and this is one of the things that I've always talked about. Roll it back before she got viral. Go to the podcast, go to season 1, go to season 2, go to the other social media accounts. I've always talked about this, of how mamas need to implement rest. Rest is one of those, she wasn't just eating at McDonald's. You're right. What if you really want to kiki with me about like hood ass shit, come at night or go to my other pages. But right now we're talking about rest, mama. But I've always talked about rest and how it is important for mamas to implement rest into their schedule. I've probably said F them kids in some of my podcasts. Kid you not. And the reason it's not like saying like you are don't like your kids, because I love and like my kids. My kids are all the way down my pages. Like, I love and like my kids, and there's a difference in the two. And I always say it, you can love your child because you birthed that child, like that's your child. But do you really like your child? Like, do you like being around them? And I do. I love being around my kids. Like, being around my children, I would, if a job told me that I couldn't show up for my kids, F that job, for real. Like, I ain't even playing. I ain't even lying. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'll figure it out. Like and love my kids. But also, I know how important it is for me to reset, for me to have rest, for me to kind of fill my own cup up. Because as a single mom, sometimes you don't have other people supporting you and filling your cup up the way that they need to. And so sometimes you do have to close them kids out. And so in my household, my children know that there are office hours for me. When that door is closed or they hear this music, this classical music playing, you ain't gonna pretty much hear no rap music or anything like that in the morning time. But if they hear classical music playing and my door is closed, mommy's office hours are done. Do not bother me. You fed, your internet work, your Wi-Fi work, your phones work. And if you're still hungry, there's snack downstairs. I've done everything that I could do for you today. Mommy needs to reset. Mommy needs a timeout. Mommy has her office hours. And so I just think that that's very important. And the people really took that and like went like, oh, she only has 3 hours showing for her kids, and when she basically said that, and I'm gonna get the point is, I'm paraphrasing, but everyone asks how I do it all, and I want to be honest about what I don't do. She also said women entrepreneurs are held to impossible standard, both as parents as well as businesswomen, and on that she's not wrong. Because as a single mom, you have to know that if you are a single parent in general, it's only one income coming in the household, right? So you have to have multiple streams of income to even survive in this economy and in this world day to day. Like, even if you had a 6-figure job, your means of how you're living is going to match that 6-figure job. I know people say live below your means, but sometimes you can still live below your means and still struggling going paycheck to paycheck. Trust me. And so it's very important as single parents, especially single women, especially single moms, have some sort of multiple income. Now, I ain't going out here saying, get a part of this hustle mentality and like hustle and grind until you burn out. No, that's not what I'm saying. But be tactical and like productive in what you are going to do, versus then be it that if it's like a passion project for you, like working in your purpose. And sometimes working in your purpose can be like volunteer or whatever the case may be. Like they have to do two parts. And I will say this, like there's a lot of commentary from people that don't have kids, a lot of commentary that from people that have a 2-income household. Like Emma, she's married. She's been married to a very successful man. But I will say, if you literally go back into her story, he invested into her. She picked a better partner because what she wanted to do, she's like the co-founder of Skims, the co-founder of Good American, and like one of the richest self-made women in America, even though she's from the United Kingdom. I think her mom was Indian and black, if I'm not black. I know she's like mixed. But she chose a partner that poured into her, but she did, her herself came, no, her mom is white, but I think her dad was black or mixed Nigerian or something like that. But her mom was a single mom. And so she chose a partner that like poured into her, like invested into her, because he's like some trader tycoon or whatever the case may be. And so, but here's where like the conversation got real, especially among black women. Now, with preference, you have those that are not single, that are putting in on the input of the conversation. Those that don't have kids that are putting in on the conversation. Those that have careers that are inputting on the conversation, or whatever the case may be, whatever it be. So I will preference that. There's a lot of people inputting in and really may not have walked the walk, or, you know, in the reality of what she's saying. But it says, because a lot of us looked at that and thought, girl, that only sounds empowering if you have the infrastructure to back it up. And let me go back to saying her infrastructure is that she's able to do now if y'all have to go back and listen to her story. Like, she was a dropout. Like, she was like, and I think I'm right about this because I did a lot of research on her. I heard her on Mel Robinson's podcast, and I kind of like started looking her up. So that's why I kind of started following her. But she was a dropout. She did not finish school. She was working in like a, what you call that? She wasn't like a product buyer, but she wasn't anybody that was big enough. I mean, she was in and out of the fashion industry in itself. She talks about how she left the United Kingdom and came to America, and she just pitched the idea for Good American to Khloe Kardashian, because I think that's who she was working for. And then Khloe was the face of it, but it's like her company, the jean company. And so that's how she was able to like launch to where she is. But the infrastructure comes from part of it being in the right place at the right time, having the face of like a Kardashian, and as well her husband. So a lot of people are like, hold on. It sounds empowering, but you had a good setup. What does that mean about a mama like me who's struggling, who's trying to make ends meet? I got to do what I have to do. And I have to be present. Like you have those moms that are like really cookie cutter moms that are out here doing everything evolving around her kids. Like she has a team of nannies, a chef, a chief of staff, a house that runs itself. And for a lot of mamas, especially single mamas, especially black single mamas, because we got to remember she is black, there is no 3-hour option. Like, especially as a mom, and I will talk about my dad a little bit, and how he was my house manager at one point because I just needed help. I was a single mom. My mother and father have been married for over 43 years, and I have a brother. He lives on the West Coast, and he and my mom was like, we'll split up the grandparent duties, go help my brother with his family and his kids, and then go. And one will go help the one with the family and kids, because my brother's married to his wife. They've been married for 15 years, 16 years, long time. They're married right after I had Soraya. So 15, 16 years, 16 years. And then me, I'm a single mama. So they split up their duties, and my dad became like my house manager. And then he had a stroke, and then he no longer could help. And so, you know, at that point in time, I still was being stretched like an octopus, having to be in multiple places at one time, at work, present for my kids. I had 3 kids, 3 different ages. They did 3 different things. And it was easy when I had the help of my dad. But then when he had his stroke and that went away, you know, I had to be even more present with my kids. And to be honest with you, I did have a village, but I didn't depend upon my village 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'll preface that. So what the majority of the masses is saying, like a 3-hour option is not, it's not it. Like there's no version where you step back because the system was never set up to catch you when you do. And that's true for single moms. And that's what really just birthed Rest Mama in its sense, because I wanted to be able to provide a community for moms that don't have that type of setup, that don't have the village, that don't have the community, that don't have the family, literally are out here on their own, thugging it out for real. Every single day I'm running into a mom that needs something, versus if it's buying food for their kids, getting something for themselves. They are exhausted to the point where they're needing a sitter but can't pay for a sitter. They're needing a ride to work because they don't have a ride, and they need to get this interview to take care of their kids. Every single day I'm running into a mom like that. And so it hit me one day when it was like, mamas need to learn how to rest and also be able to fall back on a community in a sense. And so, but here's my takeaway from it. Number one, rest is not luxury. Rest is a right. And we need to stop performing exhaustion like it's a badge of honor. And with what Emma is saying, because I'll go back to another part of what she was saying, was if women want to excel in their career, they need to be present in the workforce. And sometimes the workforce don't give a damn if you got kids or not. Like these companies don't give a shit about none of that shit, for real. They don't care about you having a family at home. And I know that for a fact. I don't do this on by myself or on my own or whatever, but I do have a 9 to 5. I work 12 hours a day, 4 days a week. I'm from my home 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 4 days out the week, and then I'm off 4 days. Crazy ass schedule when you have kids, right? It's an exhausting schedule too as well. But I still know that these lights got to stay on, these internet got to stay on, and that food got to be in the refrigerator for them kids, right? But I've implemented ways that I take mental health days from a job that's totally demanding of me. I will share that I just had my review at my job. They were like 10 out of 10, 10 stars. We would recommend. How do you do it? Da, 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 da. What keeps you coming back? It's not the company. It's because I got to pay these bills. And I got kids. And I got 2 that will be in college next year. And I still have to raise a little one that's on travel sports teams. And it's and although they daddy do pay his little child support, baby, that be it. It'll be nothing extra. And, it might be a little $20, $30 here, but, he has a whole household. He has a wife and other children as well. So, I had to get out of this. But I've come from a culture, too, where hustle, grind. If you want to be on top, you got to show up. You got to do this. You have to have all these things. And nobody talks about the rest aspect of implementing for you, because if your cup is at 0%, how are you going to be able to pour into those kids that you're taking care of? How are you going to be able to pour into that purpose that you want to, grow in or build in? How are you going to be able to just even show up for work that they're telling you got to come and show up for work? So I think that there needs to be a balance, and I think that's where, love her down, but I think that's where she missed the mark at, because she is a business owner. She is a CEO. She needs her people to be present in order for her organization to work. Number 2, we get to define what's being present, what being present looks like for us. It can be based on Instagram, social media. It's not based on what the mom groups say. It's not even based on what Emma Grady says. It's based on what works for your life and what fills your cup. I love these pieces that y'all have, but sometimes y'all got to come off of them, because it doesn't, they're good to a sense, but like sometimes people can be engulfed in what other people say when technically, okay, hear it. I get some of the points she said, but that don't align with what I got to do, what I got to say. So I'm going to keep moving. I'm not going to let it affect me, right? And so you got to know what works for you in your life and what fills your cup up. And number 3, let's stop shaming each other. Like whether you're a 3-hour mom or a 12-hour mom or a 24-hour mom, whether you work from home or whether you're in the boardroom, we are all doing the best that we can with what we have. But we're going to round it up because I do have some more stuff to do. And I want to kind of tie all of these things together because everything that we talk about is connected. Black Maternity Health Week reminds us that our lives have value, and fighting for our health or rest, our joy, and is an act of resistance. Like you got to get that rest in, y'all. Y'all have to know how important it is. The Immigrant Conversation reminds us that how we show up as mothers is deeply personal. And we don't owe anyone any performance of sacrifice. We just don't. And if y'all want to get some more keys or whatever on how to rest and how I do it, a lot of people ask me, how do you do it? By implementing rest. Baby, it used to be so bad for my kids. Not bad, I'm not going to say that. But they kind of know when mama exit, I ain't even got to say nothing. They hear garage door, they text, love you, mom. But they follow me on all my apps. So they follow me on Find My phone, and they follow me. We have Life 360. So they be on my ass, okay? They be on my ass. But, they understand that when mommy needs a rest to be respectful of that and honor that. I told them one thing. I said, hey, if I'm having to sacrifice a lot for you guys have to understand what that means for me. And right now, mommy holds the load for the whole house. So when mommy needs a break, I need you to just respect that. And so we don't owe anyone, performance of sacrifice. We don't owe anyone of that. Whatever it looks like for you in your life, you choose it. Don't be all up in that. Because, like I said, some points of what she said were true. If you want to be present, you want that promotion, and you want to be seen, you have to be present if that's what you want to go after, if that's what your life is. But if you want to be a 24-hour mama, you can too. But in both scenarios, implement that rest. It is very, very, very important. And these bags are reminding you that it is worth the investment that you're doing. Not only are you investing in yourself, you're having beautiful reminders of what rest looks like and what it means. And then you're also assisting a single mom. I just posted a video of what it looks like when I ship an order. You think, oh, I'm just getting a bag and a little plastic thing. She's going to send it to me. No, I curate these packages according to my buyer. I be intentional about what I put in my boxes / bags when you do get the bag. So you get a little bit more incentives. You get something extra with your purchase. Not only that, but like I said, percentage of your proceeds goes to a mama in need. That's Rest Mama in general. That's more so the corporate standing of who Rest Mama is. I'm missing a tooth. Actually, two. They get fixed soon, y'all. But the reason and why I still get on social media, because I wasn't going to hide from it, because I have felt the ugliest that I've ever felt in my whole entire life. I've never had a self-esteem issue. Big or small, skinny or fat, I've always felt like I am that person. I feel like who you are is how you carry yourself and your confidence. And I've never had a self-esteem issue until I broke these 2 teeth. And my teeth before were not perfect, but they were my teeth. They matched who I was. And so having to have my whole mouth rebuilt has been one of those blah, blah, blah moments. I am thankful that I am able to finance it and pay for it. I'm not having to go overseas, and if something wrong, I have to go back to get it done. So I'm very thankful for that. But it has been one of those blah, blah, blah moments. And so I have not been feeling or looking the best for myself. And I'm pushing through. So the only way for me to push through is to show up here. Because although I'm trying to put everything together and be perfect, I be on here and people just don't give a shit about none of that shit, baby. They be in their whole houses and it's shit everywhere, all on the floor. Thank you, Mama, Sister, Friend, Princess Serena. If you guys are here, Crystal, thank you guys so much for viewing the products. That matters too as well. Liking the live matters too as well. I appreciate you guys following. For my new followers, the ones that gave me the little heart me, thank you guys so much. Love y'all, mean it. All right, love y'all, mean it. Bye. 27%. I gotta go live at night. I got it though. I like this. 6,000 views. Yeah. Oh, I got to end y'all here. All right, love y'all. Mean it. Bye.